Good morning. Today is September 13th, Friday the 13th, 2019. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Logan County Commissioners to order. Please rise to the pledge with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No comment.
Go Parks. What? And with that,
Can you please quit interrupting our meetings?
and with that, any citizen desiring to be heard?
Go folks.
There we go. All right. Hearing no others. Item 4, consideration of possible action to approve minutes of September 3rd.
Correct. I'll make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. All right. Item 5, we will cage that for a bit, if you don't mind, until Dusty's supposed to be on his way here. We'll move on to item 6, consideration of possible action to approve FY 2020 EMPG funding application.
This page, all three of you, this one is
Yeah.
This
just
yours,
Marvin.
David?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so it's the application to apply for EMPG funding for this next year.
How much will it be?
I don't know. In years past, it's been $20,000, but they haven't made a determining factor as to how much it's going to be.
So
I
it
haven't.
might be 40.
I doubt it's going to be 40. I have not heard any scuttlebutt where it's going to be less or more, so I'm under the assumption that it will continue at $20,000.
What's the restriction on what the funds can be used for?
It's supposed to betterment the EM program, and so typically it's gone back to help pay my salary. Is where the funds
He goes to general.
goes to general. It assists with the payment of my salary. There's a couple other things that I have to do is change just a tad, but it still shouldn't be an issue. I have no concern on not being able to complete all the grant requirements.
What would change that?
I have to do some online NIMS courses. There's like 10 or 12 of them, and I think I have 3 left to do that I haven't already completed previously. Was one of the deals. And then we still do our tabletop exercises, and it doesn't seem to be a big deal. It has never been a big deal in the past, and most of the stuff we're doing anyway, so it's just a matter of submitting the paperwork and getting the money.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the EMPG funding application. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Item 7, consideration and possible action to approve ingress and egress agreement with Patrick and Helen Kelly in part of the southeast quarters of section 2215 North 3 West for District 1, so we can help with some storm debris issues. Thank you very much, David, for running that rat hole for me.
I received another one in email yesterday. It can't go till the 30th.
Right.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 8. Consideration and possible action to approve issuing a written request to Logan County Economic Development Council and Logan County Industrial Development Authority requesting all documentation pertaining to the financial status of Logan County Industrial Development Authority and loan from Logan County Industrial Development Authority to Logan County Economic Development Council. That is a mouthful.
Can you say that again?
I could, but I don't think you really want me to.
I think we need to follow up on that and
Yeah.
just see the response that we get. Seems how we've asked for it in the past and have none, so I would like to send this letter.
So the feedback that I've gotten so far, Monty, is that Mr. Jim Overton is the treasurer for the council, development council. Is it the Economic Development Council, the one the money was loaned to, right? And that may be the object of our letter or inquiry, because
Right.
he's got the documents, are supposed to have the documents. If it's,
And I believe it's public money, I mean, public trust money, so I think we have the authority to ask for it. So if we need a motion, I make the motion, we send it.
Oh, I'd second that.
okay, I have a motion and a second. I'd like to add one other thing to that. I agree, Monty. I got to look at the document that originally created the trust, the public trust for the county for economic development, and it says in there no uncertain terms that the county is the recipient of that public trust, or the beneficiary. The county is the beneficiary of the
Right.
trust, just like the trust that we operate
Right.
for the road trust for the county. The county is the beneficiary, and so if there's also a method in there that it talks about if that trust is disbanded, how to unwind that and how the monies should be done. And so until we get these questions answered that you've asked and we've asked, we don't know how to unwind it. And so we need that information to give the lull, so Logan can kind of help us with the.
And I hope they're
pieces
using
of
the
it.
money to do projects, but if they're not, it needs to dissolve.
So we've got there was a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all, sir?
No, thank you.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Item 9, consideration and possible action to approve resolution accepting $600 donation from Fireworks with Z, A. Poppin, for Sheriff's Office.
This was a general donation, no specific use, so they can use it as they need to.
That's nice of.
Celebrations.
I thought maybe they was gonna have a
60
firecracker launch. I'll make a motion we accept.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes
And thanks
unanimously.
those folks for doing it.
Yeah.
Item 10, consideration and possible action to approve resolution accepting $521.70 donation from Stephanie Ledette to District 2 for culvert to be placed on 11222 South Henry.
Right, I'll make the motion to accept that.
I'll second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Item 11, consideration and possible action to approve resolution to surplus and dispose of the following equipment for the election board. One Vostro 3500 laptop, one Dell projector, one Dell Optiplex computer. Those 3 items.
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 12, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution directing fund to receive 3.66667% documentary stamp collections. I think Troy may have some background information
Yes.
on this. And Troy, before we get started, I want to say thank you for recognizing the needs and where this could have went and where you have asked for the board to place this, but please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Documentary tax stamp is collections made in the county clerk's office based on deed transfers. It's assessed on the purchase price of property, 75 cents per $500, and it's dispersed statutorily. Most of it goes back to the state, and then a part of it comes to county and has been deposited to county general. The law changed effective July 1st to allow the county clerk's office to retain, and it was broke down, 5% of the first 10 and then on down, but overall, the total of 3.667% of the total collections, the county clerk could choose to collect that money and retain it for administrative costs in the office's cash account. We were advised just this last week that we should do a resolution that outlined if the clerk was going to keep that money and put it in a cash account or allow it to go to general. I've written a resolution. I hate to say I don't need, but my cash accounts are keeping my office running, and county general needs this money much more than my office directly does. Last fiscal year, it would have amounted to about $18,000. But that $18,000 also pays FICA costs, retirement, all of that. So I just feel that it needs to remain with general fund and not held by my office. That said, I structured the resolution and the request to the board to be renewed fiscal year. I don't want to make a long-term tie hands to a board or to a future county clerk. We never know what could change. So I would recommend that this be done on a financial year renewal. The resolution just says that that percentage will be deposited to the general fund for county operations.
I so move we adopt that resolution.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you, Troy. Troy, once again, thanks for taking the unselfish approach on that.
Well, it might be the next year.
It doesn't happen very often. We very appreciate it. Thank you, man. Okay, item 13.
Vote aye.
I thought we did.
Oh, didn't we?
Did we not?
No.
No. Oh, okay. So we had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. I thought we did that.
I didn't. I'm not thinking.
Chris, can you
It's
let
Friday the
Pam play?
13th.
We need replay?
Instant replay, yes. Yes, thank you, Chris. Okay, item 13 on Friday the 13th. Consideration and possible action to approve application for federal assistance SF 424 for 3 NRCS projects in District 3. Mike?
This is just to follow up on some rip-rapping projects, and I think I got more coming, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 14, consideration and possible action to approve service agreement with RK Black for copier maintenance for the sheriff's office.
We have two different, they have several pieces of equipment. Damon had filled out down here, so if you can make out, I put your signature lines just where I could squeeze them in there.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the copier contract for the sheriff's office. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously.
Chairman, we have nothing for 15 and 16.
All right, item 17, consideration and possible action on consent agenda.
There's payroll.
While they're signing, bring it back to me.
I haven't, I'll have to seal it.
So if David does get $40,000, that's a pay raise for him this year, right?
I think it goes. I think it goes into the county highway fund.
There you go.
Wagner is the one that I haven't emailed.
Okay, I haven't
And Gaiman said his 600 donation will go to the September water bill. I can't confirm though. That's only one source. I need to.
You know, a lot of times that water, they ought to give you a heck of a discount on it if you can't drink it.
Oh, you can drink it. It's safe.
After you boil it.
Might give you a little pigmentation, maybe. Give you kind of a tan. Bathe in it for sure.
It's red dirt sweet tea.
Yeah.
Red brick.
Ooh, red brick sweet tea. That's got a ring to it.
That's got a ring to it. You better market that. Pretty good. So is there a lot of copier companies out there? Because it's always RK Black.
There are, RK Black's on state contract, and part of why so many is, most years ago what we used was Stillwater typewriter. They were based, they were local, and they've sold out. And then they sold out to a company in Arkansas, I can't think, and they went by STC. They just kind of, and then STC is now sold to RK Black. So RK Black has picked up a lot of the accounts through that process.
It happened to the buggy whip community too, back in the turn of the century.
Yeah, because it's always
Yeah.
Old County.
My point is that big copier companies are
Yeah.
going out of business because little printers are putting them out of,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Walmart $69 one.
But if you can think back when you used to be a very young man, trying to get a color copy of anything was probably a rarity
Yeah.
at that. But now that everything's color copied, in business and government, there was a moratorium on buying color copiers. At the federal government level, you couldn't. You had to have a special justification to buy one because they were way expensive. But everybody's got them now. And,
Yeah.
but my point is, companies like RK Black, they're the copier and typewriter cleaning business. There's people don't clean typewriters anymore because there's no ribbon.
We still have typewriters in my office that we
What
still
the hell do it?
on a daily basis. And out of all the printers and equipment, I only have one color printer copier. Because it costs, the toner's too expensive, so we black and white everything unless necessary.
We're into our consent agenda. We're not really consenting to a lot of it, but we got to sign it anyway.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll be right with you.
That's fine, no problem.
And I have one transfer for the free fare.
Highway pretty backed up, was it? Yeah, there was, a lot of construction and
Blankets. Would you pass
Wrecking
those to
and-
Marvin? Those are his
One
district
after the
ones he
One
needs to
after the
sign.
Just the economy humming right along, slowing you down.
It takes a small degree to work with copy. You just can't just walk up to it and. I guess you can, but it's. Some of them are quite snappy.
Oh my.
Appreciate what you did. Keep you aloof, so.
These are the ones I signed at the bottom, my ones, okay.
I didn't realize she had them in that folder.
I didn't either. So, Bobby, did you watch the Democratic debates last night?
Nope.
Oh, that's right, you're a Trump fan, aren't you? I forgot.
I'm not voting for anyone on that stage, but I watched.
There's 10 people on the stage. We don't have any say in who's gonna get picked out of the 10.
Whoever
But
it
it's
is
still
will be-
interesting to be informed of what they
Neither
have
do
to
they,
say.
by the way.
I mean, it's here nor there at this point.
Well, whoever's the most anti-racist, probably.
I couldn't tell you.
Who had the debate?
Whatever happens in the next 5 minutes is all your fault, Martin.
At least I can take credit for something today. You caught us on a heavy ink day.
Oh, that's all right. No problem. It's Friday, we're over.
We're in a hurry to get to Saturday.
So we come back Monday.
My hands hurt watching it.
Officer reports.
It's a transfer or something like that. Gentlemen, you did that right.
I'm gonna write a letter. Maybe Corey Booker can automate a purchase order process, so it's a medical thing.
we don't want to.
I don't know why they.
Use a stamp.
What?
Use a stamp.
Hadn't thought of that.
Canadian County uses a stamp.
Takes longer to stamp than it does sign.
Bam, bam, bam.
Come on now.
Didn't you notice when you cross Waterloo Road, you're up here, we do things our way around here. We don't care what these other counties do.
I know Logan County does the way they want to do it.
You can't tell me you couldn't tell when you crossed Waterloo Road coming north.
Oh, I know when I get up here.
Yeah, because your head hits the headboard on your car just as soon as you cross that, and it keeps bouncing all the way until you get here.
Not on Kelly anymore.
That's a fact. Well, at least that first mile.
Yeah. My shop's on that second mile.
We're gonna try and fix that too.
It's not too bad.
Hey, Troy, had that
That's not what I hear
fire
from some other
department come out
people.
on that truck they
They
saw,
sometimes
that
have to
couldn't get a title.
We got it.
Actually, they're
True.
still in process. A police report was filed, or a report to the sheriff to forward it to federal authorities, who basically, well, you know, that wasn't a priority list, so they laid on it. But the fire department, we noticed another irregularity. They went back to the state of Texas. The state of Texas was gonna reissue a title and then pursue that dealer. And I don't have a further update at this time.
So we got it in service, didn't we?
I think we finally
Right.
are at least moving in that direction.
Forgot about that one.
If we don't have a title after we have it in service.
Texas was gonna reissue title.
Mm-hmm. I think they got it, and I talked to David Franklin about it. I think it's back in motion.
No, like I said, the last I heard, the state of Texas was gonna take up with the dealer. All I will tell you is that Logan County, I don't care I don't care what kind of bargain they give, it will not be with that vendor.
She doesn't hold a grudge.
Not too trustworthy.
Nope.
Got a good memory.
Yeah. Forgive, but remember. I got it.
Is that it on the consent agenda items?
It is.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve consent. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 So moved, unanimous consent. All right, we'll jump back up to item 5. Meeting and discussion with Dusty Birdsong, ACO representative regarding county insurance. Before we get started, Dusty, I'd just like to say thank you from the bottom of our heart, from all of the folks and parts of our county that were insured through your organization. You guys have done a stellar job in helping us put the pieces back together. And with that, I'm going to let you talk a little bit.
Well, thank you. I'm glad we accomplished that because that was one of our primary goals. As you know, you had a pretty severe flood loss at the fairgrounds. I got Ryan here with the restoration company who's been doing a majority of the work, and I was just going to kind of give you an overview of kind of how this all unraveled, because it's a little unique compared to how we deal with property claims, because we have a flood policy involved here. And I just want to make you understand how that all applies. But our pool, we have 73 counties in ACO-SIG property liability, and within those counties we've got 18 building locations that are sitting in what are called Zone AO floodplains. And that's the most high-risk floodplain that is out there, and insurance companies are very reluctant to get into that area if they're Zone AO. So we have reinsurance with another company called County Re, and they have in their document on any building in a Zone AO, they have a $500,000 deductible per building. We have a $250,000 deductible with County Re on property, but what would happen is, you can see if we didn't have these flood policies in there, you know, they're not going to cover us at $250,000, so our pool, it puts everything in a bad situation. But as a member of ACO-SIG, historically, the counties that have had Zone AO buildings, the pool pays your premiums for you. And we have been doing that for this county and the other ones. There's 5 counties that have zone AO. And I looked at premiums we paid for flood policies in this county. Last year was about 32, and this year is about 34,000 to cover those 5 buildings out there. And that's to protect everyone from that $500,000 zone AO deductible. With that said, when this flood occurred, we have to get another company involved. It would usually just be us and no one else, but because they're zone AOs, that's why we bring in the National Flood adjusters were here, and he did the restoration work. So they analyzed the loss. They allocated repairs to each building. There's a $5,000 deductible per building, and I've sent Troy I've delivered the checks up here. I believe he got all the money that has been allocated by basically FEMA, the National Flood Insurance Company, for the restoration work that his company has done. The contents are not covered by National Flood. They're covered by ACO 6, so we're going to deal with that. And the other thing that we will do, depending on right now he's working on final restoration amount, which we need before we can see where we come into play. Anything that is left uncovered on the primary side of this through National Flood, ACO 6 is going to be the secondary carrier. So whatever National Flood doesn't pick up here, our program's going to grab it up to get you whole again. Because the contents are, we insure your contents at replacement cost, but you have to replace to get the money. That's something we got to work on. I did have a question. Jim Doherty asked me to ask about the computers and were they Oklahoma State owned computers or county owned?
Dennis Oaks, I spoke with him yesterday. I guess he got brought into that loop too. He was getting with OSU Extension, and the message that I had seen from Jim was they needed to determine if OSU had insured that property or not. So Dennis was getting with the Extension office and OSU to make that determination. As soon as I know something, I'll let you know.
What we need to know is, do they own it or does the county own it?
Well, the way that it works, it appears on the surface to be county because of the way the contract works with OSU, but we're actually contracted with OSU for their service. So I don't know how they really look at it.
Well, we have some extension centers around the state, and I know the county does provide certain things for these extension centers. I guess are these computers inventory tagged by the county is what I guess Jim was asking me.
Well, and I can't give you a direct answer. So just to try to make I don't sound stupid.
Yeah.
Here's what happens.
You can think it over and get back.
The county has a contract with OSU for their services. That contract is budgeted through our general fund. So they're allocated and they use county POs and the whole bit to buy all their stuff for the year, but it's based on a direct contract with OSU. So I'm not quite sure how OSU is looking at that. So once we get it clear.
Sure, that's fine. We've had similar scenarios in other counties like this, and we have the same questions, and we just got to decide who owns what. So with that said, the other thing you asked me, were those computers at desk or were they on the ground, or how did they?
Dusty, I can't tell you. I haven't spoke to anyone. The
Where
day of
were
the
they?
flood,
Yeah.
I was told OSU had loaded everything up. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, we got John Hotali. He's working on our behalf too. He's an outside, a general adjuster. He's working on that. We're trying to unravel all that, just so you know. But the contents loss, what was presented to us, is around 20 grand. That would be depreciated on the front side, and then if you replace everything, you get the replacement cost back. With that said, I got Ryan here, and he's working on the final invoice, and he hopes to have that to us here in the next day or two. And at that point in time, then I can really let you know where we all stand financially.
Will you be the only invoice for the full project, or is there other vendors that are going to bill?
I don't think there'll be any other vendors. I think that Dennis had received an invoice from one of our plumbers that they mistakenly sent it to him rather than us, but we took care of that yesterday.
So you're operating as the general. The
Yes,
county is
ma'am.
only going to write one check.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any other thing involved. I can't think of anyone else that worked out there other than us.
Yeah, our objective was to keep it all centralized through him, where there was no one outside his involvement, where we had a bill floating out on the angles of this.
It's just easier if I know if I'm looking for one or
Sure.
multiple.
Yeah. But once we get that, Bill, Troy, then from our perspective, from the SIG pool, then we can decide and determine how we're gonna come in to get everything to a whole, where everyone's 100% whole again here. And I want to thank him. I followed this job closely. I went every week and made sure that it was going right, because I don't know, back in the 90s we had another flood out there, and it got kind of off track because the restoration guy just didn't do his job right, and this guy's done it right. And I kept up with it, and it went real well. I mean, they worked hard out there. I watched your crew a couple days, and they were really getting after it. So.
Can I get your name and the business name?
Yes, ma'am. You want a card?
That would be great.
I think you're helping Marvin, your district right now. I know you lost a roof, and I think he's up there helping on that too.
So, go ahead, Lloyd.
The fair board, I mean, they spoke very highly of your crew.
Yeah.
They was really pleased, so.
I give all credit to him. I'm mainly just kind of a guy like y'all, just making sure that people that serve us are doing their jobs, and he did do his job, and so did all these people. And that's what it makes this easy at the end, where we can just got to get the amounts and get everybody paid, and that's what we're working on.
And so, yeah, you're right. They are working out to District 1 barn. We lost our roof, and
Yeah.
we got flooded, and a lot of paperwork and some restoration going on, a big restoration project going on, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I went out before that ever happened. Was out looking at the fairgrounds, what y'all were doing out there, and I thought that was great. And the thing that caught my attention on this is disaster recovery, right? So anytime we, as the people that were affected by that, right? So I look at it as like being a homeowner, right? And dealing with my insurance company. I want you to understand that you guys aren't even close to that level of frustration. There was no frustration at all with this. The ability to have to just deal with one general contractor to do all of that from an insurance company perspective. When the insurance company puts that general contractor on the ground and says it's your responsibility to fix it, right? And they go in with that attitude, and that's what they've done. That fairgrounds is great. Our barn over there is going to turn out to be a very good work environment for the people when we get it. There's not going to be any mold left. All that stuff's gone.
Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised. And I want to pass that along. I really, really appreciate the way you guys have approached this, again, with one general contractor as the point person for the county to go to and the interface with you guys. I think that's a great idea. I hope maybe ODOT can learn from that on some FEMA reimbursement for stuff that we have, but I'll leave that discussion for a different day.
Yeah.
But thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
I would
Yes,
also,
ma'am.
just to clarify, outside of, David is working with FEMA, and last week's meeting, he told me that it appears that FEMA may pick up our actual deductible back on our SIG policy. So we may actually come out of this where we didn't even have to cover the deductible, that FEMA will pick it up.
See if they pay their premiums next year.
Yeah, because on your location, that'd be a 25,000 hit deductible wise. So
Right.
if they're willing to help you on that, and I know they're working on this side too, and that's kind of where we're trying to see where this unravel, how the amounts correlate with where we need to come in and trump what it maybe National Flood didn't pick up. But at the end of the day, you'll be whole, and that's what we're trying to figure out right now. So.
Appreciate it.
But anyway, I just appreciate everybody working with us. It's gone real well. Troy's been on top of it all the way through, so as always.
I appreciate you've been taking my emails no matter what time I send them, and you guys moved so quickly on both phone calls, the flood and the building at District 1. You moved, there was no wait, no delay. So.
Well, that's our objective. We appreciate your working with us.
Good job.
Thanks.
Well, that new roof's holding water up there, so it's good to go. Or not holding water, but like your District 1 building.
Well, I hope
Shedding
so.
water real well.
I haven't seen any on the inside of the building yet, so that's good.
If you need anything, Marvin, give me a call, and
We'll do
we'll make
that.
sure you get any help you need up there.
Thank you, sir.
You know, I think we're trying to arrange some modular, I don't know if they got the modular office buildings. I was asked, we do cover that.
Not yet.
Extra expense, whatever it takes to keep you in operation, the program will deal with that. So.
Well, I just be honest with you, the way the restoration's going, I think before we get, or temporary buildings out there for admin, I think they'll have it finished.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe so.
they're going pretty quick.
Good deal.
They're going pretty quick.
All right. Well, thanks for inviting us in, and if anything, let us know.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
We will.
Okay, jump from item 5 back to
18.
18. Consideration of possible action to approve claims for payment.
Against claims.
I claim you're against claims. So Bobby, where you been hiding? I mean, I missed you.
Well, I gotta say this, you know how the system works.
No, I don't.
Well,
I bet you don't either.
right now, there's several counties that are putting out projects, so I went down there and had to shake hands and pet babies and those type of things. So I'm running around the state. Trying to keep my job.
Your freelance job. Thanks for
My
asking.
CEC job.
I didn't see comments announced by the board, so I'd like to ask a couple
Well,
of
I don't know how
questions.
that got dropped. That wasn't intentional.
I'd like to ask a couple of questions while we're signing this, if y'all don't mind.
Shoot.
One would be the new Northeast EMS district, North and East EMS district. Are we moving along on that deal or not?
I actually don't have any new news. I'll try to get a follow-up out.
My next question would be DEQ on the 6th story.
I've not heard anything.
That's all the questions I got, thank you.
That was DEQ. Is that the way that came out?
I'd like to get a list of the members that we've been
Share.
maybe see if we can get some more applications.
Put mine on top. Let's do mine on top.
Langston didn't
Trying to hide it.
I'm kind of wondering.
Can't force them.
Well, I know.
Mr.
Made
Chairman,
all
I
kinds
make
of
a
noise
motion
about being
to
on there.
approve Claims.
There they
Or
were.
didn't hear me.
Well,
I
I
heard
will
you.
second. I have a motion and a second to approve claims. Any further discussion
Any discussion?
on the
No,
claims?
but I'll say aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none.
Chairman, we have no P-card payments for item 19.
Item 18 was approved unanimously. No P cards for 19. Item 20, any citizen desiring to be heard? And we'll stand in recess till tomorrow. We can't adjourn.
It's not on there.
Gentlemen, I've had a rough couple weeks,
I'll make a motion with it.
but you can adjourn.
I've got a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.